What up, y'all? It's your boy, One Sir Grove. This is episode 60 of Casting 495 Celebrities Worldwide, C4CW. I hope that you're having a blessed day, wherever you are in the world, whether it's daytime, nighttime, somewhere in between, midday, evening, who knows, twilight, dusk, dawn. I have no fucking idea. What I do know is that, man, this is C4CW. And like I said, I hope you're having a blessed day wherever you are in the world. So, today's topic, or this evening's topic, again, depending on where you are, is this bizarre motherfucking out of this world, but in this world, but between worlds, fucking just, man, this mind-bendingly fucking out here, this, man, so Mel's Hole. Have you ever heard of Mel's Hole? M-E-L, Michael Echo Lima, like the name Mel, like Mel Gibson. There is a hole that exists, according to said information. And as I listen, I've been reading about this shit all fucking day long. Like, this shit is the... I confided in someone today, and I said, or this evening, actually, and I said, you know what, man? Out of all the real world X-Files shit I have ever read, I mean, I'm talking from time travel, secret time-space program, secret space program, multiple dimensions, multiple universes, the multiverse. I said, man, look, I mean, you know, cosmology, cosmic theory, fucking, taking all things considered, this is the fucking craziest shit. This, man, is the craziest fucking shit I admit I have ever fucking read, man. Oh my God, this shit is fucking just nuts. So, do you read books? Do you ever read books? Like, whether they're ebooks, online, Kindle edition, the Nook, fucking actual, like, books that are offline, that are, like, tangible, that you can touch and feel and hold in your hands? Do you ever fucking read books? Any kind of books whatsoever? Because, man, if you're an avid reader, like, if you've been reading for any length of time, I mean, you know, you talk to some people nowadays, man, and they just don't read. They're like, nah, man, I never read shit. And you're like, oh, for real? Like, not once? Like, not at all? They're like, nope, never have in my whole lifetime. And you're like, but what about, like, school? And they're like, nah, fuck that shit, man. I went to school, but I never read shit. And you're just like, wow, that's sad, bro. You know, but there are people like that, and it's really sad, and it's really fucked up. Because, you know, it's the internet age. So anyway, staying on topic here, if you are someone who's read books, if you happen to be a fan of science fiction, fantasy, mystery, thrillers, novels of any kind that involve some kind of mystery, or again, thriller, science fiction, fantasy, right? Dude, I can't think of any fucking science fiction book I have ever read, or fantasy, or thriller, or any fucking book that tops this shit. Dude, listen. I'm talking like, okay, so the movie Interstellar is one of my favorite movies of all time. Because I know that shit, in my opinion, I know it's based on real shit. Like, I know it's based on the secret time-space program, and I know that shit's actually being done. But, check this out. Even though it's at the top on my list of favorite fucking movies of all time, right? And it's a relatively recent movie that came out not too long ago. At the time of this broadcast here. It was made in the past few years. It is Interstellar, the movie, one of the fucking raddest movies of all time. And a lot of people I know who come from my generation, they say the same thing. They're like, yo, Grove, that, man, Interstellar's the shit. And my boy, man, my dude, he just told me tonight on the phone. I'm like, and we've asked each other before, I'm like, you have seen Interstellar, right? And he's like, yeah, of course, Grove. Like, man, I'm fucking 100 times. And I'm like, yeah, me too. But check this out, dude. The shit about Mel's Hole, if it's true, which I believe it is, if the shit is true, it takes the fucking cake, man. Like, look, dude. So, the story that I read, I mean, okay, so let's see, this shit is so complex. It's so complicated. It involves so much data. Mel's Hole, when I first started to read about it, after I watched this YouTube video, I watched the YouTube video that has the robotic voice, that reads text, and I'm a fucking cyber dude, and I talk in such a way that makes it seem as if, like, I'm not too familiar with it, but I'm like, the cyber voice or whatever, the computer voice. Okay, so the text to voice or voice to text function, right? Where you're watching a video and there's the little robot voice. Some people are like, I'm so annoyed by like videos that have like the robot voice, right? And I am too. They're pretty fucking stupid, a lot of them. But some of them, man, though there is the robot voice, they're done well. And some of them are actually spot on. Like, it turns out that the shit that the robot voice is talking about is true, right? So, I happened upon this video, studying the real world X-Files, open source intel, right? And it wasn't really random. It, because I study a certain, I study a certain esoteric knowledge and esotericism, and so I'm digging through the layers of fucking reality, right? And I'm going down this one particular rabbit hole, and I happen upon this stream, and I'm like, oh, Mel's Hole. Why does that sound familiar? And I start to listen to the audio, and I'm like, wait a second, I've heard about this place before. So the thing about Washington State is, according to paranormal parapsychologists, paranormal researchers, there's more. If you look at the encyclopedia, I'm talking global encyclopedia, the Encyclopedia of Parapsychology, Encyclopedia of Paranormal Activity, which is an entire library. It's not like it's just one encyclopedia. I mean, there are books that are, that call themselves, this is the encyclopedia of, fucking paranormal phenomena, right? There's, 1 and 2, but then there's like the book that's just in and of itself, like it calls itself the one book, right? Some of them are broken up into a series of books. But obviously, dude, in the real world, beyond even that, there's an entire fucking like government warehouse of documents that comprise everything that's ever been observed and categorized and classified and documented as paranormal. So it's an entire fucking universe of information, right? So, I remember reading through some volumes of books, one year, and I was like, yeah, man, this shit is fucking, is intense. And it's well known, again, that Washington State has more paranormal, phenomena than anywhere else on planet Earth. That's why Chris Carter and the X-Files and the TV show Millennium, that was also Chris Carter, and the Lone Gunman and Harsh Realm, all the Chris Carter, unless I'm mistaken, someone might, point it out and say, oh, girl, well, but this one thing you're not exactly correct about. Right. Understood. Understandably so. Arguably so. Nonetheless, X-Files takes place in Washington State, largely. And you can see a lot of bizarre phenomena in the real world that's documented that takes place in the eastern part of the state, going out into the desert and the Tri-Cities, and just in the entire eastern portion of Washington State. So, dude, Mel's Hole is it's apparently a bottomless pit It's a bottomless tunnel. It's a bottomless corridor in Ellensburg, according to the first story, the first account that I began to listen to and read into with additional notes and actual notes. So I'm watching the video, I'm bringing up data in Google Images and just online in general, and I'm looking at other videos and notes and reviews of the phenomena and accounts, and I'm looking at all these data, right? And the more I look at it, the more I'm seeing information that wasn't contained in the first set of data. So every subsequent set of data that I look at, there's more and more and more, fucking exponentially more information about Mel's Hole. Dude, that shit is fucking, I mean, it can only be described seriously, man, characterized, okay, it's otherworldly, it's multi-dimensional, it's fucking mind-bending, it's mind-blowing, it's a fucking goddamn wormhole, dude. Because, so this is my analysis, right? Mel's Hole can also be tied into Utah's Skinwalker Ranch, okay? So if you know anything about the Skinwalker Ranch, the activities, in other words, the things that occur, the things that go on, the bizarre activity, the phenomena of total events that have been known to take place at the Skinwalker Ranch, if you juxtapose Skinwalker Ranch events, phenomena, with what has taken place at Mel's Hole, they're the same, man. It's the same shit. Like, it should be obvious. But to the casual observer, it's not. And here's why. A lot of people don't even know what the fucking Skinwalker Ranch is. By the way, I started to watch that documentary on YouTube about the Skinwalker Ranch. That shit. Oh, so that's actually what led me to Mel's Hole. But no one that I've read thus far in any literature, in any body of knowledge, has connected the two. I'm sure there are other folks out there like myself who have connected the two, but I haven't heard it thus far. I haven't heard anyone say, by the way, Skinwalker Ranch, if you look at what goes on there, it's very similar to what goes on at Mel's Hole, and vice versa. But I'm saying to you, whether you know of one, whether you know of the other, if you connect them, they're both the fucking same thing. The witnesses who have described events at both places, they're the same. But the open source intel that I have on, I mean, look, Skinwalker Ranch, because it's the same thing, it's the same fucking thing. But I know more about Mel's Hole than I knew about Skinwalker Ranch, and that's why today, just as it's all been put into perspective for me, man, it's like, yo, Skinwalker Ranch, fucking mind-blowing, otherworldly, the fucking craziest shit ever before, right? But now add on Mel's Hole on top of that, and it all makes fucking sense, man. And that's what makes both of them, because I swear they have to be connected. Okay, what do you know about bulletproof birds? Birds that are bulletproof. Fucking wolves that are like the size of an SUV. Like a wolf that is the size of an SUV. That won't die. Like, you just shoot it with a machine gun and the fucking thing just keeps coming. How about this? Like wolves that exist in a part of the country where wolves haven't existed since like the 1920s. Like wolves, like ecosystem wise, like footprint wise, like wildlife wise, they haven't been there for fucking like a century, but they're there. in some... Okay, so like, I don't want to give it all away. What about a dime that exists in a parallel universe of Earth? And when it's within like, say, 15 feet of this time tunnel, it can't be photographed. And it was confiscated by the U.S. Mint, but then it like turned up in Nevada at another hole, okay? I'm talking about shit where there's noise cancellation properties of a fucking goddamn wormhole, of which the wormhole shoots up beams of like black light energy. I said black light, black laser, fucking photonic, some kind of plasma that's like black laser, like a black dude, into the fucking like night sky, and then like dissipates like into some ethereal, like who knows what, and then like orbs with like surveillance drones that aren't like earthly surveillance drones, like shit that's 100% silent, makes no sound, and is cloaked like invisible. Dude, hey man, yo, dude said he could see, and this is from multiple witnesses and multiple unconnected, disconnected, not connected people, okay? These are from witnesses that were independently observing these things over time that corroborate and correlate, and they all connect up and link up in link analysis. And yo, this shit is so beyond time space, but it's right here. It's like, dude said that he could fucking see oh look, it's 4 raccoons, a mama and her babies. Dude said that he took a scope, a rifle scope, so gun optics, right? Because he hunts. He put the fucking scope up to the window, and he could see a planetary mass like at nighttime, right? So it's like it's night, but there's still some light, right? So it's dark. So he's got the scope, and he's looking through the scope. And when he's looking through the scope in the dark, there's some bizarre fucking effect where he can now see like almost like the sun or some shit of a fucking planetary system that's in the middle of the nighttime that you can't see with your naked eyes unless you're looking through a scope with some kind of like lens material. That now there's a world that's on his like massive acreage land where like in the distance out toward the horizon, but on his property, there's some like Saturn, like fucking celestial body that's an opening to another universe. So there's like another universe overlapping with his property, okay, that's out in the middle of nowhere, and it's at nighttime and you can't see it, but you put a lens over your eye that just happened to be a rifle lens, and you can see another fucking planet that's like miniaturized, and it's like on your property at fucking nighttime, and there's like crafts and shit, like fucking goddamn spacecrafts that are like cloaked and like somewhat visible, and like a combination, like some are cloaked, some are coming out of cloaking, some are fucking like 100% visible. One of them sees him and comes in his direction. Dude, all this shit's going on. Not only that, but the thing that's there with him, right? These things, these entities that are there, that are apparently from some other universe, they're like in control of his environment. And they would like put dishes away that were like a whole, there'd be like a whole sink of like dishes, right? That would be, okay, so like there'd be a bunch of dishes, like a whole sink filled with dishes that needed to be washed. The wife would like go into the living room for 5 seconds and come back, and all the dishes were put away and like perfectly fucking clean within a matter of like 5 seconds, dude. They thought they were losing their minds. They documented all of the shit that was going on, dude. And they realized that it was like 80 different things. Like shit was being taken like within like a nanosecond of like a split second. Shit would disappear. It would be moved around the house on them. Now, I know you're thinking this is poltergeist, right? No, man. Poltergeist ain't got shit on this shit, okay? Poltergeist, this isn't a haunting. this isn't a haunting, like, between, like, the spirit world. This is some intergalactic portal, like, time continuum shit, okay? And dude, so, like, I'm at 20 minutes, and I'm not going to go into too much more detail, because, dude, the shit is a cannon of information. Like, I could continue to give dissertation and report on the subject, but there are obviously, like, okay, so look, the government locked this shit down. They fucking, dude, they paid him for his land when they found out that the shit was there, right? And they took over it. And they took him to Australia. Or they told him, like, hey, dude, hey, we got an idea. How about you go? Like, he was enticed to go to Australia, right? But then they said, hey, caveat, like, here's the deal, dude, as part of this agreement, dude, don't come back to the United States, okay? Like, we're going to give you enough money, dude, just stay overseas, bro. Just stay overseas, buddy. Like, dude, hey, listen, don't talk to anybody about this. And, bro, just live out your life overseas, and it's in your best interest. Like, you know, they like, psyoped him so that he would never fucking come back to the United States. And they basically told him to never do that, right? Let alone the place where this shit was going down. So what he does at some point is he's like, yo, I gotta go back. I got, like, fuck it, like, risk of life and limb, like, gotta go back, right? So when they got, like, through surveillance, because they're watching this dude around the clock for the rest of his life. Like, they got cameras and shit, like, secret micro shit he can't detect. And he thinks that they're not watching him. Like, or if he does, he's like, fuck it, I'm just gonna do it anyway, right? And see what happens. Like, I gotta go back. So, dude, when they find out he's trying to go back, dude, they immediately start, like, putting the moves on him, dude. Like, the gang stalker shit, like, don't do it, dude. Like, Men in Black were, like, bumping into him on the streets in, like, Australia. They're like, dude, we know you're trying to get on a plane, trying to get on a bus, trying to get on a barge. Like, bro, don't stow away. Dude, don't do it. So he somehow makes some headway, man, and does some maneuvers. But obviously, dude, we're talking about the Men in Black, right? So, dude, they like jack him up, dude, and they dope him up, dude, and he ends up through some kind of escape process because he thinks, dude, like, he ends up in San Francisco or some shit. Dude, he ends up, like, coming out of a hospital somewhere, and he made it some length, some distance, even though he wasn't supposed to get too far. Like, some shit went haywire, and, dude, because apparently this guy's got money, right? And though it's the Men in Black and they're warning him, like, he's doing maneuvers on them, right? Obviously, dude, they're interstellar, they're intergalactic, they're alien, dude, they're fucking MIBs. But whatever their protocol is, they're trying to help the dude with the series of warnings. They're like, we know what you're trying to do, and we see that you're doing the moves on us, dude, but we're really just trying to help you out because we did a financial transaction with you. We haven't 100% like said that we would erase you, but dude, we're warning you, dude, like, you're getting too far, okay? You're getting carried away with it, man, and at some point, like, we can't let you do it, right? Dude, as it turns out, there's another fucking tunnel, and the Native Americans had seen him on Art Bell, and they like code talk to him and like were like, hey, we heard you on our bell and we know you know a lot about vegetation and like growing crops and like, hey, dude, we're just really interested in like talking to you. And when they got his ear, they're like, yo, dude, now that you're here, thank you for accepting our invite. We need to share some very sensitive information with you. The tunnel that you discussed, there's one right fucking here. So, dude, there's another one in Nevada, and bro, dude, I am telling you the shit that, like, I'm telling birds, dude, that are bulletproof, okay? Like, a being that came out of, like, an internal organ of a sheep. So there was a sheep that was put in a wooden box. They did a test, and they put a sheep in a fucking wooden box. and the sheep supposedly died, right? At least it appeared to be dead. Now, take heed and be warned and caveat, like FYI, heads up. No one knows if it actually died or not, but it was presumed that it was dead, right? And but when they cut it open, because it exhibited these very bizarre and strange properties after having been lowered into the time tunnel, right? So a butcher there, a local butcher in this area in Nevada, that's part of this native group that knows about this, right? And they have the tunnel there too. But their tunnel has metal sheathing around it, right? Whereas the other one is like stone. It's made out of like rock, like stone. The one in Ellensburg or in Washington State, which, by the way, the information was removed by the U.S. government. It was like taken from the Terra server and removed. But people have shots of it before it was like doctored up on the property where they Google airbrushed it and shit, right? Just like Antarctica and Mars, and other parts of the globe where shit's all doctored up and faked up, so you don't know what's there. And by the way, dude, I can't give any kind of legal or business advice, but dude, I would not try to creep anywhere on the property, dude, as an adventurer, because they got that shit locked down for miles, dude, the perimeter around it. And my understanding is that they do use anti-aircraft, and there's dude, I read something about they've got like a triple fence system set up around it that's electrified, and I believe that it's lethal force and they shoot to kill. And they have electro-optical surveillance of the entire event area. And it is an Area 51-esque-ish event site in the middle of some town where you wouldn't expect that shit to be there. So basically everyone who lives there is like, all the people who used to live there have been removed. And the people who like are there, they're like pretend husbands and wives and like pretend families, and the shit isn't real, dude. Don't go there, man, because like it's not safe. That town is now like an Event Horizon town where, dude, it's not like Area 51 where you can go there with binoculars and like look down and you're like, all right, that's S4. And if you go up there and it's like they've got a little town where you can have like little alien souvenirs and shit. Like, no, dude, this is a place where they don't even want for you to know that it's there. And they have like misdirected people who have read about this shit on the internet so that anybody who gets within so many miles, like you won't be able to see anything. Like, you're not going to get a glimpse of anything. You're not going to be any fucking where close where you can report back about anything. Dude, all I can say, man, is the shit that I read about the ice, the ice that turns into some other chemical substance when lowered. Okay, we're talking about ice, right? H2O, right? We're talking about water molecules that are frozen. When fucking dropped into or lowered into this time continuum, they turn into something else that is then combustible. Like, you can use it as an energy source that apparently it's ice that you can light on fire and it burns like a candle. So in other words, it generates heat, right? It gives off heat. And like if you look at endothermic and exothermic, right? So it's going out, right? So exothermic, essentially, I'm kind of extrapolating. I don't know shit, but something along those lines. It's combustible, right? It's a heat energy. Apparently it burns for months, but here's the trip. It pulled this dude's, range, his oven, right? He had this shit in a little shack that he had, and he got some of this stuff, and he was like burning it in his oven to like generate heat so that he could save money on utilities and electricity, right? Well, dude, at some point it pulled the oven under the kitchen floor and was still continuing to heat the property. It goes down, 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 and it keeps sinking. There's a sunken level of his kitchen now because of this ice material that's been burning for months. Literally ice on ice. I'm talking about goddamn ice that's been burning for months, right? Dude, it pulls his range, it pulls his oven under the kitchen floor. And he leaves one day because he can't put the shit out, and he doesn't know who to tell about this. He leaves one day, and when he leaves, dude, he comes back to his house, and his house is obliterated, and it's been turned into ash. That's not even the trip. His motherfucking range is still generating fucking heat with these ice cubes that are on fire from some fucking, like, metamorphosis of energy property, like chemical compositional structure of it all has been transformed into some other thing when it was lowered below into the time tunnel, right? Well, it does something where it transitions like transcendental like chemistry, right? Like alchemy almost. It has transformed the substance of ice into something else that becomes this energy force of itself that is then like pulling gravity-wise itself into the earth, right? So because it's like it's the ice is now from another universe, right? And it wants to go back to that universe from whence it came, right? So his oven, dude, is in the middle of this wreckage, this rubble, like his home was hit with the fucking Scud missile, right? And the only thing that's left on the property is some, like, fucking dust, so it looks like Mount St. Helens, but you can still see this oven, right? So he contacts these people, dude, these people in Australia, and he talks to them, and they're part of fucking Echelon. So it gets back that he's at this fucking location, or some shit. Like, don't quote me on that, man. I might have those facts off, and that might not be the story, but that's what I read. That's what I read, dude. And the U.S. Gov gets tipped off that he's at this place, and this oven, dude, of this dude that had these ice cubes from having been lowered into this time tunnel, they now creep up on his ass. They creep up on him, and they bring in what he said was the largest machinery he's ever seen in his life, like the kind that like make dams and shit that like tunnel underground. Dude, they bring in these mega machines, and they have these cranes, and they can't even get the fucking thing out of the ground because it's being sucked back into the nether world of some other universe of time, right? Because it's contaminated, dude. It's this other energy from this other universe that wants to go back to that universe. Well, apparently DARPA and our secret government, they know what this stuff is and what it does on some level. So they have to use some like liquid, some form of water, some like classified form of like fluid to ultimately yank this stove out of the floor of this ground. Okay, so it's like a sinkhole, right? And this thing is going down, and because of the heaviness of it, the density of this molecular structure of whatever this material is from this fucking ice that is burning indefinitely, dude, they have to pull this shit out of the ground with mega equipment and cranes that are used to build like ordinarily like skyscrapers. Well, these are some military grade cranes, and at first they can't even get it out of the ground. And then ultimately with some fluid dynamics process, they're able to pull this shit out and contain it and like fucking ship it somewhere where the Gov has a way to like do something with it. So its disposition is unknown, but now that place is on fucking lockdown. And so are these other original two. So look. So the sheep or whatever it was that was lowered into one of the time tunnels, right? When the dude from Ellensburg, Mel, had gone to Nevada and was talking to the natives there who showed him this other one, he conducted the same type of experiments that he did originally back at his place. He showed them what he was doing, which was like 80,000 feet of rope, like, that was cast down below into this tunnel, which is something like, according to the math and physics, and don't quote me on this, it's probably not accurate, but however many feet it was, I mean, it's a simple division problem, 5,280 feet, right? But we're talking like nautical miles, or who knows, because is it water? Is the physics of this thing are unknown. We're dealing with unknown physics, right? Because apparently on the Art Bell show, there were physicists that called in, and they said, well, at those fathoms, at those depths, like assuming that there's water or that there's not water, like the shit could get like, the gravity of it all with like heat and pressure and all this stuff, like the rope should snap at some point, but they don't know what's down there. They don't know what is down there, so they don't even know what the physics are. So the physics within the time tunnel probably don't even, and obviously, in retrospect and in hindsight, they don't apply. They're non-applicable. They're unknown physics. They're not of this universe or this world. They're otherworldly fucking physics, right? Which we, in the math science community, we refer to such as unknown physics. So it's something like 15 miles of cable, of rope, of, some type of twine, some type of like fabric material, some type of textile was dropped, okay, into this time tunnel that is the equivalent of something like 15 miles worth of rope, if you will. And even with that, okay, there's no end there in sight. And so when they lowered the sheep into the fucking time tunnel and brought the sheep back up, and now keep in mind, it's inside of a crate. When the butcher opened it up, dude, to look at its organs internally, and I told you that it looked very strange, and there was this like gelatinous, like weird, like gooey, like, material, this like slime that shouldn't have been there. Inside one of the organs of the sheep was a being that popped out of it when they split it open, and they said that the shit looked like a seal, like a little baby seal, but with other features of other strange animals, right? And the thing apparently is telepathic and can communicate in some way through a boom box. Like this shit, I'm telling you, this shit is fucking goddamn lunacy. But I believe it's real shit, dude. They said that this animal can communicate with them, they found out over time, through a boom box. It can send signals, like with its mind, through the boom box that are then somehow understood, but it's in some language that's indecipherable, mostly, but part of it can be deciphered. Dude, so this being originally had jumped out of the sheep and, or whatever animal, whatever kind of livestock or cattle it was, right? Because they're different stories, but they all kind of do gel. That's the thing, is like different sources say different things, but it really is the same story when you piece it all together. But look, this creature, I won't even describe the intimate goings on of this interaction. Like, you have to read the story to hear what happens, dude. At some point, the thing just jumps back into to the universe that it came from, right? But you're like, why would this being be inside of this fucking sheep? Like, why would it be in its body? Why would it be alive? How did it get in there? So it somehow fused into, like, interdimensionally, it fused into the sheep and then came out of it, but it's highly intelligent. And when it went into the well or the hole or whatever you want to call it, the wormhole, that wasn't the last time, dude, that it was seen. Apparently now it comes back all the time on a regular basis and just like pops back up out of the time tunnel and starts talking to the people locally there who are familiar with it. And it's like now a friend of the people that gave birth to it in this world, right? It's fucking nuts, dude. That's all I'm going to tell you about this shit at this point. Dude. Bulletproof birds. Wolves that seemingly don't die, that are the size of tanks. The fucking wolf that was seen on the Skinwalker Ranch is the size of a fucking tank, dude, of an SUV. And they like shot it, dude, with like fucking machine guns, and it didn't die. Dude, packs of wolves that shouldn't exist, that are accompanied by skinwalker, like, alien beings, like, dude, oh, and by the way, accordingly, it's apparently the most paranormal place on Earth, even more so than Area 51. I don't even know, like, dude, the code name for this place, whatever designation our shadow government has given this place, it's got to be some shit that's so ultra secret, like, they don't even call it an area. Like, there is no designation for it. Wow, bros.